Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst, great Malabite, Emmanuel Efene, who, like me, is also looking forward to the birthday celebration of Tokunbo Oyetunji.
Good morning, Dr. Abati.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Hussein.
Bless you, sir.
Good morning, Mrs. Myro Esse.
Good morning, sir.
Yes. We start the review with this.
Mrs. She's simply Ayo Myro Esse
She's Delta.
on this table.
She's a Delta wife. So we protect her. Now we start the review with this day, Nigeria's newspaper of record. The lead story, Judgement fundamentally flawed. Say Atiku will be head to Supreme Court. Ex-VP insists ruling has thrown nation into more confusion. Former Anambra governor vows to exhaust entire legal process. Expectedly, Atiku Abubakar, the candidate of the PDP in the presidential election, and Mr. Peter Obi, the Labour Party presidential candidate, have come out to speak in the wake of the judgment that flawed their petition. And as such, they are insisting that this is not the result, the outcome they expect from the court, and as such, they are heading to the apex court in the land, the Supreme Court, to restate their case. But of course, we know at the Supreme Court, you are not starting your case afresh, you are not bringing fresh evidence. The justices at that level, 7 of them, will be looking at how the appeal court, sitting as the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal, arrived at its decision to throw out the petitions of Peter Obi and Atiku Abubakar. But the reports by both presidential candidates, of course, urging their followers to stay calm, hoping that something good will still come out of the Supreme Court that favors either of them. But other newspapers are also reporting this story. Atiku, the New Telegraph newspaper, Atiku will be head for Supreme Court to appeal judgment. The New Telegraph newspaper, if you have it there. Then below the lead story of below the photograph in the front page of the New Telegraph newspaper, there is a story. Nigeria needs new indigenous constitution. Ezekume warns federal government against leading or joining ECOWAS to wage war. Nation has never been more divided than now. Pat Utomi, Bishop Okonkwo urges Nigerians to eschew vices, be God-fearing. Now, the Nation newspaper also reporting the story. Atiku Obi, why we are challenging tribunal verdict. Don't go to Supreme Court. Bello, Wike, Bruce urge Labour Party, PDP candidates. APC, judgment reinforces democracy, judiciary's vibrancy. Yes, and quote from each of these presidential candidates. Peter Obi, the judgment is not conterminous with justice. While Atiku is saying the decision of the court falls far short of my expectation. APC insisting the outcome remains a wholesale endorsement of our party's vision. Well, the judgment only reinforces the election of Bola Ahmed Tinubu as president. I don't think it has anything to do with the vision of the party. But of course, at times like this, you expect the parties that are victorious to go overboard and be expansive in their celebration. Of course, the president himself in faraway India, we just go back to this day. I was so excited by a verdict, I couldn't sleep. Says Tinubu, of course, the celebration must have lasted into the night, and the hangover of it, of course, the president can be permitted. It's human after all. You celebrate that kind of victory, and endorsement of your victory by the presidential election petition tribunal. Now, the Punch newspaper, tribunal judgment, APC lampoons Atiku Obi, opposition attacks INEC. Judgment devoid of justice. Say ex-VP Obi opposition planned beavers hacking. APC insists petitions, legal teams storm Court of Appeal for judgment certified through copy. I want to appeal to the Court of Appeal that sits as the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal to please make this document available to the petitioners so that they can proceed with their wish to appeal the judgment at the Supreme Court. Because recall that at the end of that, the reading of that judgment, the counsel to the petitioners, Peter Obi, indeed wanted to have a copy there and then. But the justices told them that, well, you have to wait till tomorrow because the time is fast spent. You won't see any staff in the secretariat, in the office to hand over this to you. So just wait till tomorrow. But that yesterday has passed, and the councils are still waiting to get this document. Of course, because election matters are time-bound, time is of the essence, and the appeal court must do the needful and make this available. After all, once what the justices read were typed document. Once you have typed a document, you don't type it again. You just print another copy and does it as required by law and hand over to the councils. Now, of course, Peter Obi and Atiku Abubakar, not many kind words for the INEC. Recall that when Arise News was subpoenaed by Labour Party to play a tape of Professor Yakub Mohammed, the INEC chair at the tribunal, his speech at Chatham House, the portion Labour Party wanted Arise News to play had to do with where the professor, who is the chair of INEC, said that beavers is almost foolproof because it was used in Osun, in Anambra, in Ekiti, and of course in Ondo off-season elections. And that the results of those elections are still in beavers, and they are 99% correct. That was the portion of a speech of the INEC chair at Chatham House. Labour Party asks subpoenaed Arise News to play at the tribunal, which means they believe that every result will be on the beavers even after the presidential election. Perhaps that was why they dropped their guards, because as the senior advocate of Nigeria who was on this program a short while was saying that you must also ensure that you get your documents even before the elections are over. Perhaps they dropped their guards because of INEC assurances. Now, the Daily Trust newspaper, Atiku Obi reject judgment, head to the Supreme Court. But the story just above the lead there, below the masthead, landslide kills 30 in FCT, 19 kidnapped. And of course, one of the headaches the minister of the FCT, Nyeso Wike, has to deal with, of course, it is security around the FCT, where kidnappings and insecurity is also a major problem, not just people going out of the master plan. So it has to be a total package in dealing with the challenges in the FCT. Now, the Guardian newspaper, poor lessons from 2020, endless wait for palliatives in states amid accountability deficits. Yes, the palliative promise to cushion the effect, the impact of the fuel subsidy removal. In many states, citizens are still waiting for these palliatives. Now, the foreign newspapers quickly. Now, the Daily Telegraph newspaper of the Daily Telegraph of UK, Prime Minister refuses Indian plan for visas in trade talk. Yes, Rishi Sunak has landed in India for the first time as Prime Minister is visiting India. Of course, as part of the G20 meeting, on the sidelines, there will be that talk with Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi. Trade talks, business talk, and how to agree on a free trade agreement. That's what they'll be deciding. But the Indian spokespersons are trying to bring in the visa issues. They want more visas for Indian professionals, nurses, and IT professionals. But the UK authorities are saying, no, let's talk trade. We deal with migration, immigration matters at a different setting. Ruben, Rufai, and Ayo.
Well, we seem to have run out of time. But just quickly, it's our first anniversary of the passing of Queen Elizabeth II, and King Charles III has already issued a statement expressing his deep affection for his late mom and thanking, the British, and the entire world for the love that they have shown, on the occasion of the first anniversary of the passing of the longest reigning monarch in British history. And then, of course, in Gabon, the detained President Omar Bongo has been released. And he's been told that he's free to move about. And if he wishes, he could go abroad for medical treatment. But meanwhile, his wife and his son, Nuruddin, are still held in the presidential palace. They've been charged for high treason. General Ngema has been sworn in. Sima, former opposition leader, former prime minister, 2012 to 2014, former opposition leader, has been sworn in also as interim prime minister. Where does that leave all that intervention by the international community?